It's been more than a week since Boise's mayor asked the chief of police to step down. That ask came just 24 hours after 7 Investigates published a story about Chief Ryan Lee not being placed on leave after multiple officers filed complaints against him. Today, many questions around what led to that point are still unanswered. And among those who want answers is the woman who led the office created to hold Boise police and elected officials in Boise accountable. Natalie Camacho Mendoza worked for the Office of Police Oversight from 2015 to 2021 when she resigned. That year, the city changed the name to the Office of Police Accountability.
Well, I think when I first heard about it,
When the former director of Boise's Office of Police Oversight learned Police Chief Ryan Lee had resigned amid complaints within the department, she had questions.
My big question at that point was, how was that handled? Was there an investigation? Clearly there was a file open.
Emails from a BPD source earlier this year show HR received complaints from multiple officers claiming Chief Lee verbally abused them. HR sent the officers to Internal Affairs to voice their concerns, but since Chief Lee oversaw Internal Affairs, they went to the Office of Police Accountability. Mendoza says when she directed the Office of Police Oversight, she did parallel investigations with HR because each department dealt with different policy violations.
How I would have thought things would have happened is when the officers went to HR, that HR would have opened up an investigation.
She says she was surprised to hear about a written memo addressed to Boise Mayor Lauren McLean from the Office of Police Accountability. It recommended Lee be placed on leave pending an investigation into the verbal abuse complaints. Mendoza was also surprised Lee wasn't placed on leave during a separate criminal investigation for allegedly injuring an officer during a briefing. Lee was never charged.
If a police officer had been under a criminal investigation, whatever it may be, the department put those people on paid administrative leave while the investigation was going.
What about just like not criminal, but this separate investigation?
Okay, the employment, that would be an HR decision.
But then what happens when HR doesn't investigate it?
Well, that's an issue because the Office of Police or any oversight would not have jurisdiction over human resources.
Mayor McLean told KTVB Lee was never placed on leave for either investigation because a third-party review found no policy violations.
So it's not unusual to have an outside person review our findings in critical incidents, but their review was not to change our findings. Their review was only to make sure that we were in compliance with the law and any agreements we had with the police department on how we went about doing investigations and write them up.
Mendoza says during her 6 years with the OPO, command staff and other city officials would take her recommendations or come to a mutual agreement.
You're saying when you made a recommendation to a captain, to maybe Bill Bones, right? They would take that. And when you made a recommendation to the mayor, he would take that.
Yes, absolutely. When I made a recommendation to command staff, they gave it weight. As an organization, what is the message that you're sending? As a community, what is the message that you're sending to community? That you have a law enforcement officer that is being investigated for a crime, and let's just take it out of being a chief, right? Just a law enforcement officer who's being investigated for a crime, but they're still out there enforcing crime. What's the message to the community?
As someone who once worked closely with the Boise Police Department, Mendoza wants to know what more could be done moving forward.
If it were me, I look at it from a management type of standpoint. How did this scenario come about? Where do we have problems in not just in the department and addressing the concerns of employees, but also where did we fall down in not having proper procedures to guide us in situations like this?
Alexandra Duggan, Idaho's News Channel 7.
And as we've reported, city council members have told 7 Investigates that they have not yet seen the entire Office of Police Accountability report about what happened. So the Boise City Council is expected to learn more this week about what occurred during that investigation into Chief Lee. In the meantime, as we continue to follow up on that, you can read more about this situation on our website, ktvb.com.